This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to paint some front rank French Napoleonic figures that I've primed white. We're going to paint them using Testors craft paints, and I'm going to I've already pre-planned. I've lined up the colors that I'm going to need. Now, unfortunately, in the pack of Testors craft paints that I received, there are no metallic colors, so I'm going to use some Army Painter or I'm going to use some Army Painter metallics for the gun barrels, bayonets, things like that. So any of the metallics you see, you'll see from that. Otherwise, everything's going to be a Testors craft paint. I'm going to paint this first stand on camera. The rest of these stands I'm going to paint off camera between scenes, and we'll splice it all together, and you'll basically see this stand gradually getting painted. I did a video yesterday reviewing these paints. I tested them out on some black and some white figures just to kind of show you the consistency and the quality of these paints. I recommend either after this video or before this video checking that video out so you get a different opinion. I'm actually very pleased with the consistency of these, but I noticed it rubbed off. Now that primer that I had on there was a semi-gloss. This is a matte, so I don't think, and plus I'm going to water these down very slightly, a very slight consistency, maybe a 25% water. These have a good consistency already, but it is a little clumpy, so you do have to thin it out just a little bit for me, for my type of painting. And all right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, the first color I'm going to use is called Tangerine. It's not a flesh color. This set does not include a flesh color, but I tested this out yesterday, and after you put this on and you apply a wash, this looks exactly like most of the flesh that I'm already using. In comparison, like this is a model color skin tone, so it's almost exactly the same. All right, so here we go. Okay, now this is not a tutorial on how to paint. This is a review of these colors. So if you're expecting me to go through and talk about how I'm painting, then this is not the video for you. I actually have a few videos like that. But to help pass the time for me, I might actually talk about how I'm painting. So that's an added bonus. I'm painting flesh first for two reasons. It's the closest. I'm painting there's a technique called in to out. I experimented a while with out to in. I really didn't like that technique, so I'm painting in to out. Now what I'm talking about on in to out is I paint flesh, then a t-shirt, then a jacket, then a backpack, then his rifle. Basically, I'm painting from the skin outward. There is a technique where you paint the most exposed piece first, and then you paint less and less as you move inward, saving flesh for last. I found that technique looks really good on the model. It really has an effect, especially on black primered figures, because you can leave black line borders around your colors, and then you won't, or it will accentuate every little color. So, but on white that doesn't work too good, and the way I apply a wash at the end of the paint, there's no need to go through that extra trials and tribulations. Now, when you're painting flesh on an in to out technique, you don't have to be accurate. You can be inaccurate. You can paint over because, like, if I got some of this flesh on a jacket, that would be not a problem because I'm going to be painting the jacket anyway. All right, so that is the hands and faces and ears. All right, so I don't know what where the focus is sitting here. All right, and so you can kind of see the color that Tangerine gives these guys. Now this is pre-wash. All right, so let me do the rest of these guys, and we'll be back for the next color. All right, now that I got the flesh on all those guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to paint the pants, the pantaloons on these guys. And because I'm painting these up as 1815 ragtag French, about 2/3 of their pants are going to be white, but there's going to be a smattering, a randomness of other colors, light browns, grays, light blues, things like that. So what I did was, or what I'm going to do is hit like one figure, maybe one or two figures per base of a various different pantaloon color randomly. And so let me go ahead and get started. All right, we got a little bit of blue fog on this guy's pants. It's just really just to take and give them like a randomness to them. Now I'm going to use on a different person desert sand. All right, so we got this guy. You can see it's just a slightly off color. I like that color. I think I'm going to do a second one. All right, and we're going to do this guy. He's got his open coat so you can see the majority of his pants. All right, we're going to go with a little bit darker brown. Even though I am going to do some greatcoats in this color, I'm going to do some pants in this color as well. But right now we're just doing one or two pants in coffee. All right, so we get like that open jacket pants. And then I'm going to jump back over here and do another one of those closed pants. Closed jacket. So all you see is the bottom from the knee down. There we go. Easy peasy. And also on a couple of them, I'm going to use some royal blue. It's kind of a darker blue. There's one of the open jackets with blue pants. All right, so we got another blue. Now, blues traditionally, blue pants would be on your light infantry. But again, in this period, pretty much anybody came to battle with whatever they owned. Okay, so the majority of the troops are going to have white pants. I'm going to leave the primer as the white. And I normally do that. I prime the primary color. So like jackets or armor or whatever, I will prime the that way I don't have to repaint that. So I'm going to leave the white for their lapels and their the majority of their pants. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the jackets, the greatcoats. Now the majority of them are going to be this darker gray, but I am going to do a few of them in these browns. So it's going to be gray and browns, but the majority is going to be this gray, which is gray smoke. All right, that's one. Now let's continue on. Okay, so we got 3 of them done. Now let me go ahead and do, and you notice I left one blank. We're going to go ahead and do the same on these other stands, and then I'll be right back. A number of their oil covers for their shakos. I'm going to use browns and grays and blacks for their shako covers. So I'm going to go ahead and use this smoke now on maybe 3 or 4 of them. Not a whole lot, but just a few. All right, so we got the smoke gray on the helmet covers and on the jackets. We're going to move on to maybe a lighter brown, also for greatcoats and helmet covers. In just back, I want to go ahead and use coffee again, but this time I'm just going to paint all of their hair and mustache. Okay, so I've got all their hair. Now I'm going to use that same coffee to do 2 or 3 of their greatcoats. Just counting, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 greatcoats. So I probably should do 4, because then I'll do 4 more in a darker brown. All right, now we're going to finish up the greatcoats with a lighter gray. This is called hazy. We're going to use hazy on this, and then from there, I'm going to go ahead and touch up the. I think there's only one shako that's got a cover on it, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the rest of the coats, and then the last shake. Okay, well, this one that I was going to do doesn't have any of the light gray or any of the shakos need to be covered. So we're just going to move on. All right, the next color we're going to use is royal blue again. I might come back to this a 3rd or even a 4th time, but in this time I went to the royal blue because there is one figure here. Okay, not here, here, that is the sapper, and he doesn't have a greatcoat on. He's wearing just a standard uniform, so I'm gonna have to paint that blue. But also I wanted to point this out, that underneath the cartridge pouches, you've got a little rolled up field cap. A rolled up field cap is located under the cartridge belt or the cartridge pouch. The yeah. and that is a blue cap that they would wear when they're off duty or around camp. So that'll need to be painted blue, as well as his coat. So let me go ahead and just paint these cartridge. Now, yep, all of them have it. It's a very subtle piece of the uniform that a lot of painters overlooked. When I was a younger painter, I would just paint this entire thing black, not realizing that there was a little rolled up cap underneath the ammo pouch. Okay, so let me go ahead and finish up all these ammo pouches and that coat, and then I'll be right back. So the next color we're going to use is brown. They call it brownie because it is kind of a lighter brown, but I'm going to use this on the backpacks, and they're going to be brown leather backpacks like they're supposed to be. All right, so the next color we're going to use is, I'm going to use their terracotta. The terracotta is going to be used for the gourds. There's pottery. They have pottery gourds, but they also have glass bottles inside of like a wicker basket. And they also have the round gourd, and they've got like this canteen shaped gourd. So the gourds are definitely going to be the terracotta, but the glass and the wicker, that's going to be something different. So let me just get all the gourds done with the terracotta. All right, now for the glass water bottles, what I'm going to use is the Hunter Green. I wanted a really dark green because the glass, the colored glass is very popular, and green seems to be a very common color, and it's darker when it's full. So I'm just saying that their water is full. And like this one has the bottle inside the wicker basket. The wicker basket actually serves not only as a carrier, protecting the glass, but it also keeps the water cool. Okay, that was all the canteens except for two. There are two canteens. Like this one here, that's actually a metal, like a tin canteen. So I'll be painting that with a metal once I get to the metals at the end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this rust red for the wood muskets and the drumsticks. So let me go ahead and paint these first 4 muskets with this rust red. I think what I'm going to do is, because I'm not sure, that looks a little too red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some brown to that, some brownie. We're going to put a drop of brownie in that. So this is going to be a brownie and rust red mix. All right, the next color we're going to use is black. Now there is a lot of things that I want to paint black. Shoes, shakos, ammo pouches. On the elite companies, we're going to paint their swords. The sword sheaths, that is. On the sapper, you've got his bearskin. Yeah, so there's a lot of black going on. But we're just going to paint these figures here, and then I'll move on to the rest off camera. All right, so let's just start off by hitting some ammo pouches. All right, that's ammo pouches. They go by pretty quick. They're just boxes. Now let's do the Shakos. Okay, so we got the Shakos, the brims on the covered Shakos. Now I got to do the shoes. The footwear. All right, so we got the footwear, got the ammo pouches, and we got the Shakos. And that's the main thing I need to hit black. All right, so let me finish the rest of these guys, and I'll be right back. Boots, painted the exposed Shakos, the brims of the covered Shakos, the ammo cartridge pouches, swords, sword sheaths, I should say, sword sheaths for the elites, and the bearskin on the sapper. Basically, a lot of things were black. Oh yeah, the bicorn on the officer. And yeah, now we're getting ready to move on into some other colors. All right. All right, guys, we are continuing on. What I've decided to do is I'm going to just go ahead and jump on their pom-poms. We're going to knock those out. But before I do that, see, I've got their pom-pom colors already right here. Before I do that, though, I'm going to hit the wicker baskets around their canteens using the desert sand. Okay, now that I got all those canteen covers painted, now what we're going to do is do a slight variation. This is vanilla. I considered using the desert sand, but you can see that there is just a slight difference. I want to go ahead and use the vanilla on the drummer and on the sapper's apron. I know that's not part of this first figure set, but I'm going to show that off anyway. All right, so now we're going to go with these first. Each one of these stands basically represents a company. So each company has its own pom-pom color. There are 4 companies, line center companies, and then there are 2 flank companies. But a lot of times green is also used by Voltigeurs. So specifically this battalion's green is going to be their epaulets. So what I tend to do is not ever use green on the center companies. I tend to only use the purple, blue, and orange. And then reserving green for Voltigears. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to do all of these and then we'll be right back. All right, so the next color we're going to do is red, and that's going to be for my Grenadiers and also my Sapper. I include a Sapper model on the Skirmisher stand, and I used the Voltigears and the Grenadiers as my Skirmisher stands. So yeah, so the first thing is going to be their pom-poms, their epaulets, and then if there are any stripes or straps on a regular Shako, then I'll cover those as well. Now there should be red also on tassels off their swords, so I might hit that as well, or I might hit that after I do the swords. And for those of you that are curious, I am doing the 2nd Battalion of the 100th Regiment. There were 3 battalions of the 101st, not the 101st, the 100th Regiment at Waterloo. So this is the 2nd Battalion. And different battalions would have different pom-poms. They would have, like, some of them might have like a red pom-pom with a green tip, or a green pom-pom with a red tip, or yellow pom-pom with a red tip, etc., etc. But luckily on the 100th Regiment, the red pom-poms were solid red, and the Voltigears pom-poms were solid yellow. So I don't have to use the alternate colors. Now, there are these 2 crossed axes on his sleeve. Got to be very careful on how I do that. I use the side of my brush. Okay, it looks like we're definitely going to have to put 2 coats of red over black. Well, in this lighting and the focus, but we got the red straps, but with the black undercoat, it doesn't look bright like that. It looks really dark. So we're going to give it a second, and then I'm going to go and do a second coat. But in the meantime, while we're thinking about it, I'm going to paint the red tassels. Okay, so we got the straps done. I had to do probably about 4 coats to get it to a comfortable dark red that I'm comfortable with. All right, we're going to let that dry. I'm going to go ahead and jump on the yellow for the Voltigears, and then we'll be back. All right, so in addition to the pom-poms, Shako straps, tassels, I'm not painting their epaulets yellow. Those epaulets are actually green, but the drum on the drummer should be yellow as well. And speaking of the drum, I'm going to go ahead and paint the skin, the desert sand. All right, so now we're going to take that green. It's just straight up green. We're going to use that on the epaulets. Now I'm coming back to Brownie. What I'm going to paint with Brownie are the bayonet sheaths. All right, so we got those sheaths painted. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them, and then I'll be right back with the next color. The next color we're going to use is just a very little bit of this royal blue. I'm going to paint the standard flag shaft, the royal blue. A lot of times I'll only paint the top and the bottom because the middle of the shaft is covered by usually a flag. But in this case, I'm just going to paint the whole thing. All right, so we got a blue standard right there, standard pole. Oh, wait. One more thing. The edge of the drum is supposed to be blue. Okay, now finally, before I go into any kind of metallics, we're going to paint white. There is a lot of white straps on French soldiers. All right, so we got this cross strap. Which also holds the bayonet sheath. We got a cross strap over here, which is probably going to hold the ammunition cartridge. And then we have a shoulder strap for the backpack. Looks like part of the strap here is for the gourd. And also the weapon sling. And there's usually straps on the backpack itself. And I'm going to paint those as well. One full-length strap, and then the two side straps. All right, let me do the rest of these. All right, guys, I got these up to about 90% finished. We've got the base coat, the complete coat, and I've added the metallics for the metal, the brass, the gold. All that's been added using the non-Testors paints. But I wanted to show you up close what they look like. And here we go. This is the orange pom-pom company, or stand, if you would. All right, and let's look at the backs. And remember, these were all done, other than metallics, these were all done using that Testors 36 color starter set, basically. Testors craft paints. Okay, now these will look different once I wash them, and that's the next step. I'm going to apply a soft tone wash to these guys. We're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to base them. I'm going to flock the base as well. You can kind of see the tangerine flesh, how that looks a little bold right now, but once I apply that wash, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised. And this is the sapper and grenadiers. Let's take a look at the voltigeurs. Voltigeurs. Once I get past the camera, they're out of shadow. Okay, and the back sides of them. And again, remember, these were all done using the craft paints. So they look really good right now. Let's take a look at the command stand. We got the officer, right? And we have the drummer with his drum on his back. We got the standard bearer, and we have the NCO. Okay, let's take a flip gander look at these guys. Okay, and you can see the blue cap under the ammo cartridge, and the drum on his back, and the officer. Okay, so I'm going to break the video up right here. I'm going to finish this 100%. We're going to wash it with Army Painter Soft Tone. Then I'm going to base them, and I'm going to apply a flag, and then we'll be back so you get to see the final product. And then you'll be able to compare to see what the differences are. All right, I'll see you in just a second.